Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for having me here. I wanted to personally thank Mr. Mustafa Njai for, I typically don't request to speak at events, but when I saw that this particular NDP topic was on there, I quickly went on LinkedIn and reached out to Mr. Njai. And Mr. Njai is the type of person that I noticed, I don't know him personally, this is probably my first time meeting in person ever, but he always picked up his LinkedIn when I reached out to him, and once he even gave me his phone number and said, call me, email me if you need anything from me. So I don't know if a lot of people here have heard of Innovate Gambia. It's an initiative we started a year ago. And even when we started that and wanted to do an event, the first person that I thought to reach out to was him. And then he was like, give me a call. I called him, I was driving, pick up my kids from school. And he's talking to me, and I was like, wow, this gentleman is amazing. You know, he picked up his phone from a person that he doesn't know anything about. Unfortunately, he couldn't speak because he said he was traveling. But then we had Nyang Jai, Abdullah Toure, and all these people that came about. But the reason I really wanted to be here to really talk about the NDP and what we are trying to do through Innovate Gambia, we looked at 4 initiatives. One was to digitalize the country. Our first event was really, we wanted to understand why was it that the Gambia wasn't adapting technology as other nations. Because if we really want to get out of the rut, I really, really, really believe that technology is going to be the way that's going to pave that. Because if you want to develop a big economy, people think it's, you know, increased productivity at the workplace, give them new systems, but that only accounts for about 14% of the growth. So where does the 86% comes from? It's efficiencies. What can take 100 people to do, with technology you can probably maybe even have 2 people do it. That's how all these big companies come about. The Facebooks and the Instagrams, all these billion-dollar corporations are using very little resources to get their things done. The NDP, when we looked at it, we wanted to compare it with Innovate Gambia to see what were some of the things that we were doing that were in there. And pretty much everything that we have in Innovate Gambia was in part of the NDP. And we're trying to digitalize the process of everything else. We took the NDP, the abridged version, which is 45 pages. There's 2 versions, 45 pages and the full version, which is 330 pages. So I actually made my whole staff, all that are Gambians, read the NDP. They hated me during that time. But we wanted to understand what was it there that we can contribute. And this is where the human capital really comes about, which is the diaspora. My folks from the diaspora, I'm talking to you. Unfortunately, if you look at the $2.4 billion of that NDP, you know how much of that is dedicated to human capital? 8%. And here we are talking about education, but then our government thinks that 8% of the 2.4 should only go to developing our people, which is a big, big problem. It's all about education. We, my company, we are contributing up to $100,000 of our own funds from our pocket towards the NDP. Not that we're taking a check and writing it to the government and say, here you go, no. But we're taking our resources, because our time is our money, to really help them with some of the areas that they really need to really enhance. About half of that money is going into software that we're paying for. That's going to cost us actual cash that we have to bring out. About another half is human capital, our expertise, consulting, building. The website costs us about $5,000 to build it. But it allows you, every single person here, because whenever I ask the people here, how many of you have read your National Development Plan? Raise your hands if you have read the plan. And we're talking to these people about the NDP. And Chair Nogay said this earlier. It's about sacrifice. What does the Gambian want? What is it that you want this country to be? All I see on Facebook is complaints. But no, we really need to have a serious conversation about this. Where do we want to take it? And this is the reason why I lifted and shifted my entire company. We still operate in the US. We have an office in Spain. In India, we still have our team there. But we're spending a lot of our resources here. We're acquiring an educational institution that's more on technology. Not because we want to get rich and charge people, but I want to create scholarship programs to put a lot of these youths to learn more about technology. We're building a tech hub that's going to cost us a lot of money. All these funds is from us. It's not from other people. And us, as these diasporans, as we call ourselves, we're the ones building the U.S. We're the ones building UK. Why aren't we building our own nation, folks? So I know we put a lot of blame and things on the government that they need to provide these things to us. You know, he talks about the government needs to look at enhancing the way people do business here. The government needs to enhance their business. So how can they really enhance other businesses? So they don't have time or resources to really do the things that we're asking them to do. They just don't. So it is up to us. These are our issues, guys. So I'm urging all of you guys that are building these top-notch nations that allows the people like Trump to call us, you know, the folks from the shithole countries. But it's the shithole people that are building them up. But Sharon rightfully said that, no, not everybody can come home. It just won't be sustainable. But what can you do remotely? What can you offer? I'm not asking these people for a dime. The $100,000 is the services. I'm like, if you're happy with our service, you want to continue to use us for other things, fantastic. But if you don't, you say, hey, Malik, thank you for the service and for helping us out. It's a win for me, just that alone. Because I can say I contributed towards that plan of the men being successful. And I want everybody in this room, whether you're in finance, you're in technology, or whatever it is, think of ways that you can look at that plan and see what is it that I can lend a hand. Not what can my country do for me, but what can you do for your country? So from an education standpoint, we're more looking at just sharing knowledge, doing a lot of networking events. I mean, what TAF's doing here, this is amazing. And guess who has to foot probably most of this bill? You probably paid for most of this stuff, didn't you? Absolutely. So for us, all of us, we have to come together. We have to really bring our A game and solve our issues. We're all Gambians. So we shouldn't expect that $2.4 billion is being put on for the Gambia, that let's say 70% of that goes to external consultants. And then who's going to maintain the infrastructure once it's built? Because we never invested, because remember you put only 8% to train the people. Then we'll be this ever cycle of always depending on people. Guys, every February 18th we celebrate Independence Day. Why? Because we're not independent. Are we? We're not. So what are you celebrating? We go to the stadium, we march and all this stuff. We have to start building our own nation so we can be independent. And today, the level game platform is level for all of us, because we have the same access to the same resources that all these developed nations have. We have internet. It's good internet, it's just the infrastructure inside is not good, but we're trying to solve that, okay? But that needs to be number one priority. Energy, power for the energy, and infrastructure for connectivity. It's key, because now you can create and make people have access to be able to do more things. So as part of everything that I'm talking about here, it's all about what can we do together as a nation to be able to start solving some of our issues. And that is what we are doing. When we launched Innovate Gambia, we pledged to invest over $1 million of our own funds to creating all of our initiatives. And we weren't given any funds from the World Bank or from IMF or from this other organization. This is 100% us, because we wanted to start building that platform. What TAF's doing is the same thing, but we need other companies. When you come from the airport, you come and you see AfriCell, but I don't see AfriCell doing events like this. But then we all consume their stuff. There's other companies that are doing well in the Gambia that need to do the same thing. So I want to work with other organizations like, Africa TAF Global, to how can we recruit other nations to offer, other companies in this country that are doing well, that are consuming a lot of our, we consuming their services, but they're making a lot of money and taking it offshore. Why? So we need to come together as companies, as individuals, and really start building our nation, because Gambia will go forward. And we're not going to depend on people to always keep doing that for us. And so, So I appreciate the platform. I appreciate what TAF's doing. I mean, this is amazing. When I walked in, I was like, I've been to other events, and you're like, so I've been to a lot of conferences. I attend a lot of conferences, so I've seen the standards, and you did a phenomenal job. You're setting the bar high, because I have my other event coming up. I was like, shit, man, now I have to I have to raise my income level. So good job. Thank you very much for the platform, and we appreciate everybody here.
Thank you, Malik.